The 2024 NBA Summer League is just one day away, and the Washington Wizards have assembled maybe one of their best rosters of all time. So what I want to do in this video is talk about the roster, going player by player, examining their story, the role I think they'll play on this team, and just their general strengths and weaknesses. By the way, my name is Tyler, aka Wanzo TV. I'm a big Wizards fan, so let's get into it. To start off, I want to talk about the players who are actually on the main roster as well as the Summer League roster, and I'll start with the rookies. So all three rookies will be playing in Summer League, that being Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, and Kyshawn George. So to start with the rookies, what I want to do first is talk about how I think those three will fit into the lineup. Now, with this being the Summer League and effectively the rookie showcase, I don't see any reason why all three of these guys shouldn't be starting. Now, I do think this will be a very, very fluid Summer League for the Washington Wizards. I think there will be games when guys are inactive versus active, and I think that'll just shift with kind of just the lineup trajectory, which I'll get into a bit later, obviously. But I just want to throw that in there, that I do think whenever these three are active, they should be in the starting lineup no matter what. As for the actual games the rookies will play, what I want to do right now is give a list of things to watch for these rookies. So as you're watching games, you can kind of look, are they getting this done? Are they getting that done? Is this happening the way that should? Just so you can get an overall scape of what you should be looking for in this Summer League. First, we'll start off with Alex Sarr. So with Alex, the first thing that I'm going to be looking at is what position Alex Sarr ends up playing. I think Alex Sarr is very capable of playing both, but I think what position he'll play in Summer League will kind of give us an indication where the Wizards see him playing in the regular season as well. Now, this next point is definitely the most interesting in my mind. What role will Alex Sarr have on the offensive end of the floor? Now, normally this wouldn't be something I would question so much. You know, Sarr's a 4 or 5. He'd kind of play that more traditional big role. Even if it is more nuanced in the offensive that you see today, where he's kind of shooting the ball, moving more fluidly, I wouldn't really question it. But Coach Cody Toppert gave an interesting quote in the interview before Summer League as to what his offensive role will be. So I'll play that right now.
We'll start with the versatility from Alex, right? Alex is such a unique character. I mean, he's a guy who can bring the ball up the court. He can play all positions. So often misses, you're going to see a truly positionless push. You know, you're going to see him in situations as a handler. You see him in situations as a screener, a roller, a popper. He's going to be a guy that's asked to hunt and create action, particularly on missed shots. And I think the beauty of it is you're going to see him in just about everything you can, right? We will run him off stagger screens for shots. We will run him with the ball in his hands as a handler in the pick and roll. You know, he'll create action through dribble handoffs and more traditional actions. So, you know, we're going to try to put him in as many of these different situations as we can. And so far, he's really reacted well to those situations.
So as Coach Topper kind of laid out there, Alex Sarr is going to have an extremely versatile role. Versatile to the point where some of that stuff he was naming almost was like point guard quality. So when I'm watching Summer League, and when I hope all of you are watching Summer League, that should be something to watch for. How is Alex Sarr getting to his spots? How is he creating offense? How is he looking on the offensive side of the ball? Is he at the 4? Is he at the 5? Is he more of like a 2? Is he on the wing? Is he in the paint? Just look for any and everything on the offensive end and just really take note of it. And then the last thing I had for Alex was, is he looking to assert himself? In the NBL with Perth, he had some issues sometimes, you know, really exerting his dominance and showing his force on the offensive side of the ball. In Summer League, as the number 2 pick, it's almost a requirement that he comes out guns blazing and is assertive. So that's one thing that I'm looking for as well in Summer League. Now, switching on to Bub Carrington, the first thing that I'm going to look for is physicality. One consistent gripe against Bub Carrington is his physicality on either side of the ball. A lot of it has been made about Bub Carrington's inability to put pressure on the rim. And just looking at point number 3, just to kind of tie two of them together, how is Bub putting pressure on the rim? Is he trying to go there and he's getting just pushed off his spot because he doesn't have the physicality, doesn't have the weight, doesn't have the strength just yet? So that's one thing that I'm going to be looking for this Summer League with Bub Carrington. Then my number 2 thing is going to be, how does Bub look with the ball in his hands? Coach Toppert in that press conference also said that Bub is going to likely have a very on-ball role. I'll show that clip really quick.
Off of makes, we will find the point guard and look to hunt triggers in random spots. And I think within a subset of that is a lot of Bub on the ball, getting reps, making decisions.
So as you heard there, Bub is going to have a very big on-ball role in Summer League. So as a fan, I'm very interested to see how he looks in that. Is he dominant passing the ball? Is he putting up big assist numbers? Is he creating chances on offense? So that'll be one thing that I'm going to be watching specifically with Bub. Now, my last point with Bub was his efficiency, and I'll kind of contradict myself here. If you're watching the games, I really stress watching how they're getting their shots. If Bub shoots, say, I don't know, 1 for 8 from a game, but all of his shots have been good looks from the mid-range that he normally makes, I'm not really looking at the efficiency too much, right? But if he's looking uncomfortable, he's getting pushed off his spots, like I said, then you can worry about it. So I put efficiency on there, but thinking through it, I don't want you to put too much stock into efficiency. Just with Bub being the guard, I feel like efficiency plays more into it, but like I said, just make sure Bub is getting good shots. And lastly, let's take a look at Kyshawn George. So the first thing I'll be looking at with Kyshawn is how does he look with the ball in his hands? Now Kyshawn's a very unique player. He has a very tight handle, but he isn't the best athlete in the world, which kind of ties into the third point. So what I want to see with Kyshawn is how does he look with his handle against NBA physicality? Does the lack of athleticism show itself even more against NBA athletes, against summer league guys? Or does it kind of stay the same? Is he still kind of that weird little unique shifty guy? So that's kind of the first thing I'm going to look at. Overall, how does he look out there? Is he comfortable out there on an NBA floor? Now secondly, I want to look at his shot. That's probably his biggest NBA strength coming in, so I just want to see how it's looking like it's translating immediately. Like I said with Bub, it's important to see how he's getting good shots. If he's getting good looks off the catch and they're just not dropping, that's still a good thing. But I want to see if his looks are clean and if it's just like, overall, if the shot looks good. And then lastly, I touched on it a bit earlier, but Kyshawn is not the best athlete. So I kind of want to look if he's getting by his man the way he should, if it's kind of showing on the defensive end, if his lack of athleticism is showing. So just kind of keeping in mind that he's not the best athlete, how does it look out there? Can you even notice it? If you're watching, you'd be like, I can't believe this guy said he's a bad athlete. This looks fine. If that's the case, then we're cooking with, we're cooking with good stuff. So just looking at overall, if he's looking comfortable out there. Now, before I transition into talking about the rest of the roster, I do want to talk about one notable admission. Bilal Coulibaly will not be playing in Summer League as he's playing with the French national team in the Paris Olympics. Now, I've seen some discourse about is it going to be better for him to play in Summer League versus the Olympics. I'm going to be honest, him playing in the Olympics might not be the best for his personal development, but a chance to play in the Olympics for your country is something you just can't turn down. So let's hope he gets good minutes over there. I challenge everybody to watch the games, watch France play over there. Hopefully Bilal get good minutes, get some good reps in over there, but he will not be playing in this Summer League. Now, transitioning to the other pick we had in last year's draft, Tristan Vukovic. Contractually, Vukovic is in a weird spot. He came over from Europe mid-season last year and signed a non-guaranteed deal. Then he had his option declined, and then he re-upped with a two-way deal with the Wizards for next season. So in my mind, that likely means Vukovic is going to take a step back from his role last season. If you remember, Vukovic ending last season had a pretty big role. He showed some really good flashes of potential. But in this offseason, we acquired Jonas Valanciunas and we held on to both Marvin Bagley and Richaun Holmes. So this Bigs room is very packed. So now with Vukovic being on a two-way, he'll likely spend most of his beginning of next season in the go-go, learning in the G League, different things like that. Now, I did only say beginning of next season because I could very well see one of our bigs getting moved at the deadline. They're all kind of serviceable for different playoff teams for a myriad of different reasons, and that could propel Vuk into minutes in the second half of the season. But what Vuk is tasked with this summer league is playing well enough to say, hey, let's not wait for the deadline. I'm ready for minutes right away. So if Vuk can play well this summer league, he has a good chance of propelling himself into minutes immediately. Then I'm going to group two guys into one here. I'm going to talk about Johnny Davis and Patrick Baldwin Jr. Now, Johnny Davis and PBJ are both entering their third years in their NBA career, and I'm going to be pretty blunt, both of them have not shown much. So in my opinion, this is really their last chance to come out and prove that they're NBA players. If they can't show out in this summer league, that's setting a really bad tone for how this season is going to go. With that said, they will both be on this season next year. We're not going to waive them because their contracts are guaranteed. We pick up their option last offseason. So they're going to be on this team for at least this season, but if they don't show out, it's probably going to be their last season on the team too. Now, returning to the Summer League rotation / lineup, this is how I see the lineup looking. It'll be Bub at the 1, Johnny at the 2, Kyshawn at the 3, Vuk at the 4, and Sarr at the 5. So the group of 6 guys that I have on the screen right now are guys that I think are going to be on the main roster next year no matter what. And I also just want to take this time to reflect that you're looking at 6 first-round picks on one Summer League team right here. This is 6 first-round picks on one Summer League team. As a Wizards fan, I remember there was times when Johnny was the only pick on the entire roster. Corey Kispert, the only pick on the entire roster. Seeing 6 first-round picks in one roster is refreshing beyond words. This is beautiful. It's really beautiful. Now, beyond those 6 guys who are actively on the current roster, we have 3 more also on the current roster. But what's different with these guys is I don't think these guys have a locked-in spot on the roster as the other guys, and these guys are the more older guys of the bunch. So as the current main roster stands, we have 16 players under contract. We can only have 15 under contract when the season starts in October, meaning we're going to have to waive one person. The 2 candidates to get waived are going to be Jared Butler and Gino Amarui. That is because they both have non-guaranteed contracts. I say that with the caveat that Jared Butler's non-guaranteed contract is for 3 years and Gino's is only for 2 years, which would lead one to believe that Gino would be the one who's likely to get waived when they have to make that cut. But this Summer League presents an opportunity for one of these guys to have a better Summer League than the other and get that final roster spot. And for Justin Champagnie is currently on a 2-way contract, And that is a very secure spot. We only have 2 guys under 2-way contracts, which means we also have an open spot to get somebody else. So he's not necessarily on a roster crunch like the other guys, but the 2-way slots are always just very volatile based on how other guys play in Summer League that I'll mention later. So he is just in a state of flux where he needs to also perform just like Gino and Jared. Now I also just want to throw in my prediction here. I believe that barring a massive great performance by Gino in Summer League, he would be the one getting waived. There's a good chance he could stay within the organization playing for the Capital City Go-Go, but he'll get waived off the main roster. As well as that, I think Justin Champagnie should stay on the 2-way contract. Justin Champagnie has far and away the more applicable NBA game than Jared Butler, who's a small guard, Gino Maru, who's undersized big. Justin Champagnie's a 3-and-D guy. He's more applicable to the NBA offense. He's 6'5", shoots the 3-ball well, plays good defense. So I'm keeping Justin Champagnie at any cost and probably keeping Jared Butler, waiving Gino Marui if I was the GM. Now this brings us to, count them, 9 roster players on the Summer League roster. This is a Summer League super team. Now I do want to throw in right here just an interesting quote I got from Coach Toppert when he was talking about the Summer League and how the rotations and just game-by-game rosters / lineups will look.
You know, we've got an approach that we're going into. There will be guys available for some games that aren't available for other games. And, you know, the front office has done a really good job of meticulously putting together the plan that we'll put in place. And those minutes will be distributed essentially before the game's played. Nothing will be random about what we do, but that's definitely the tricky part.
So Coach Toppert basically said outright that some guys are going to play some nights and some guys aren't going to play other nights. So how I took that was, I think some nights we will see a more youth movement where you'll see Bub starting, you'll see Kyshawn, you'll see Sarr, different lineups like that. And then on other nights, I think you'll see more of a vet presence roll in. Because Jared Butler is a guy, for example, that should not be coming off the bench in Summer League. He's better than that. So what I think you're doing is you're giving Jared Butler time when he can start and kind of get his game off. And then on the flip side, you can have Bub Carrington get his game off with his kind of own little team roster going on. So I think we'll see that divide between the young guys and the older guys in the Summer League rosters. Next, I want to talk about 3 guys who spent the last year in the Wizard system playing with the G League Capital City Go-Go. First off, I'll just talk about Jules Bernard. Jules Bernard has easily the best shot of any of these 3 of actually making the Wizards roster. He's been killing it in the G League with the Capital City Go-Go. He spent there 2 years last season. The season before that, he had 15 points per game. Then this last season, he upped it to 20 points per game. So he's getting better and better within our system. And he actually ended the season last year on a 2-way contract. And in the last 19 games he played with the actual Wizards on the main team, he only put up 4 points per game, but he shot really good, which is surprising for a guy coming up from the G League. They're shooting 38% from 3 as a guy fresh off the G League is very good. So keep an eye on Jules Bernard to have a good Summer League and potentially get another 2-way slot. Then just finishing up with these guys, John Butler didn't put up the most gaudy numbers in the G League, only 6.7 points per game. But if you've ever seen John Butler, you kind of understand why he got this shot. He's like 7'1" and he's super slender, so he's got that upside, former 4-star guy. And then Taylor Funk is kind of just your stereotypical white shooter. He spent 5 years in college at Utah State his senior year, put up 9 points per game in the G League, and he shot 38% from 3. That's kind of just his, you know, he's a 3-point shooting guy, offers good size. It's a clear NBA role in today's NBA. But those are the kind of the guys finishing up within our system. Then there's 3 guys that we brought in who have no affiliation to the Wizards in the past, starting off with Marquise Noel. Now, if you follow college basketball even the slightest, you'll probably know who Marquise Noel is. He was the star guard who led Kansas State on their long tourney run a couple years ago. He actually broke the NCAA tournament record with 19 assists in a tournament game. At the NBA level, he probably doesn't have the size to be a functional NBA player, but just in this small vacuum of the Summer League, he could offer some value passing the ball. Maybe he can get in some lineups with Sarr, help him find some dishes here or there. But as an NBA player, he's probably cats, but he's a really cool story and can add immediate value in the Summer League and maybe as a G League shout. Then we have Eric Stevenson, who somehow managed to play for 4 colleges in 5 years, spent last season with the Mavs and Spurs G League teams, averaged a combined 10 points per game. Then finishing off the roster, we have Tyler Robertson of Portland. Now, there's some fun, interesting facts about Tyler Robertson. He's Australian. That's kind of cool. Fact number 2, he was playing in the West Coast Conference tournament game for their conference tournament, and he must have been having a good game. So I felt the need to take a screenshot of his headshot on ESPN on March 9th, which was way before this roster was named, so it's just kind of a funny coincidence. Also, he averaged 17 points per game at Portland as a 5th-year senior. He's actually signed to the Sydney Kings of the NBL for next season, so this is likely just a chance for him to show off his game to some other teams, but he's probably going to play in the NBL next year. But yep, he finishes off the roster for us. We also share a name. Now for the final roster of the 2024 Summer League Wizards, this is what I have for our current rotation. I could be wrong on some things, but I feel pretty solid that this will be roughly what we're looking at with the Summer League roster. So yeah, that is going to be the video. Comment anything that you think I left out or something I didn't touch on enough or anything. Just your overall feelings for Summer League. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Anything like that, leave that in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I feel like I don't ask for that enough, but it would be greatly appreciated if you all could do that. But yeah, this is Wanzo, aka Tyler, big Wizards fan. I got a bunch of stuff coming up very soon, so make sure you sub all that stuff. So I'll see you in the next one.